8 steps to win at life. Step number 1, show up early. Now, this is coming from somebody who is a night owl. And when I say night owl, for those of you who do know me and who do know the work I'm in, videography, content creation, showing up early is difficult because I'm usually up till 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning. At least the previous me was. I have since started to shift my mindset and my habits and perspective of what it means to actually show up early. And it's really crazy because over the last couple of weeks, that's what I've been doing, is showing up early. And you hear show up early, some people, especially like in the entrepreneur field and creative field, but just in general, you want to show up early to your appointments. You want to show up early to, meetings. You want to show up early to work. One of the biggest phrases that I've used or that I've told people, because it was told to me when I was working back at Kaiser Permanente, is early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. Which is crazy if you really think about it. Like, yeah, you want to make sure you show up early. I've been told stories where people have had meetings with investors, and the investor would tell them if you didn't show up on time. Let's say our meeting was at 10 a.m. You didn't show up at 10 a.m., it's 10:01. I would not have invested in your business, or I would not have invested in your organization or nonprofit, whatever that looks like. And so for me, I've always had I guess you can say FOMO with time, with events. And I always try to show up at least 15 minutes early, the latest. I will usually be at a place or an event 30 minutes to an hour early. And it's just that fear of being late, that fear of missing out. I could ruin my relationship with a client. I could ruin my relationship with another individual if I show up late. And so, if one of the ways to win at life is to just show up early, then I think we all need to get into that habit of being early. Now, I say that like, being early and everything, like it's easy. And it's not. It really, really isn't that easy. Being early isn't the easiest thing to do. I know from my own experience, but it does take time. It takes effort, discipline, and when you hear the word discipline, a lot of times you think discipline's going to be harsh. Discipline's going to be, a horrible thing. It's a very, very difficult thing to do, and it can be. But I also heard it that discipline is just self-love. I'm going to show up early because I love myself. I'm going to say no to that extra slice of cake because I love myself. So you have to focus and see like discipline as something that's actually showing love to yourself. You're growing as an individual, as a creative, as an entrepreneur, or whatever field it is that you may be studying in or working in, but you're doing it because you love yourself. And so one of the things that I've done recently over the last couple of weeks is I've started to shift how I show up in life. And it started with showing up early. And so after getting some coaching and mentoring from Vince on, and everyone has told me, hey, you're young, you can do it, blah, 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 blah. I'm 28 going on 29. So yes, I'm still young, but the toll of staying up late really, it accumulates. And, there's times where I find myself, I can't stay up that late anymore. And so again, after that guidance, that coaching, I've started to say, okay, I'm gonna be in bed by 10, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure I'm up by 5 a.m. 5:30 the latest to make sure I'm at the gym by 6. And if I don't go to the gym, then I'm showing up to a coffee shop. I'm showing up somewhere as soon as they're available or as soon as they're open, and I'm getting to work. So showing up early doesn't mean just to your appointments, doesn't mean to your meetings. It means like waking up early, and here's my revelation about waking up early. And I was talking to Vin and Delilah about it the other day, is that I went to Pete's Coffee at 6 in the morning. Okay, I think I got there at like 6:15, and I set all my stuff up, and I was ready to go. I was like, okay, we're gonna work. And I found that there was just so much more time available for me. It was weird the way that I got there at 6:15, whatever. Started, I think, if I remember, my Instagram like story post was like almost 7 o'clock is when I actually started work. I took a little photo and everything, but the amount of work that I got done between 7 and 10:30 was mind blowing. I was able to get a rough draft of the video I just posted with the different chapters. I was able to get a rough draft of a content creation and marketing plan for another business. I was able to edit videos, edit photos, and just work without stop. I was able to just work without any interruption or stopping. It was completely weird. The distractions just kind of disappeared. And I find now that I have so much more time in my day by just showing up early. I work that's 7 to 10:30, 7 to 11, whatever amount of time you give yourself. But I was telling them, like, it was wild to see that at 11 o'clock, I'm just there like, okay, what do I do now? I've done a lot of my bulk work in this morning session, this morning time period. What do I do now? Like, I have a meeting at 3, but I have so many hours to kill before that. And, I was able to go home, relax, make my lunch. And it is just crazy, the idea of showing up early and how much of a difference that makes in your day to day. And some of you are like, well, showing up early, I'm already showing up early to work. I'm already, I'm waking up at 4 in the morning and I'm going and doing X, Y, and Z. Cool. And I get it. We all have different lives. We all have different things we got going on. And sometimes it requires a little bit more of a sacrifice. And I'm not saying that you're not sacrificing enough or you're not doing X, Y, and Z. Again, this is from the entrepreneurial like side of things. I have my own business and I'm working towards something bigger with my business. And so I don't have a normal 9 to 5. So me showing up early is that, what is that? Working that 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5. And then what is working your other 5 to 9? So I believe it's your 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5, and then your other 5 to 9. It's building the dream that I want by showing up early. And I really do believe that it is a step to win at life. Just showing up early. Again, it's not easy. It's taken me at least a week, week and a half to actually be able to say, okay, I hear my alarm, get up. We all struggle with getting up. You got to build the habit. Hey, as soon as you hear the alarm, get up. Stand up. Don't stay in your bed, reach for your phone and hit snooze. No, get up. And then once you get up, it's now just showing up. Yeah, showing up early, but in general, just show up. Start by showing up in life. Start by showing up with your friends, your family members, your coworkers, your relatives. Start by showing up. One of the things that I started doing recently with this new journaling piece is not only doing the prompting for leadership, for, growth and development, but part of my goals for every single day is to show up in somebody's life, whether that's a phone call, a text message, a FaceTime, but getting to let people know, like, hey, I'm still around, I'm still in your life, I'm still doing X, Y, and Z, and following up with them, really connecting with somebody who you haven't connected with in a while. And so show up. I would say that's your first step, that's your pre-step, your baby step before this next step of winning at life. The step to win at life, show up early. Before you can show up early, you have to learn how to show up. And that is difficult for a lot of people. So just show up. Make a little bit more of that sacrifice that you have to. But show up. Show up for people. Show up for your family, your friends, your relationships. it's funny because I was having another conversation about, oh, it's a two-way street, Okay, communication is two ways, and I haven't heard from you, you haven't heard from me, and with relationships, there's always has to be that communication of, hey, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm not feeling, this is, you know, I may not have to talk to you every single day, but just keep me in the loop of things. And so even with your relationships that aren't romantic, that are more friendships and family member wise, family relationships, like show up in those. Show up for something better, for something greater than what it's already been, because how often do you talk to a family member, or how often do you call a friend and kind of see what's up and catch up with them and see what's going on in their lives? And taking a step back and realizing, hey, why am I not showing up in other people's lives? Because that needs to happen. And so that means you initiate the conversation. You initiate the text message. You initiate the good morning, the good night. You take that first step. Now, if the other person is not reciprocative of all that, cool, let it be. But you need to be the one who starts to show up.